So, back in 2001, when I was 8 years old, I got a GameCube for my birthday. With that game came Sonic Adventure 2 Battle and Pikmin. The first game I played was Sonic Adventure 2 because I loved it on the Dreamcast, and I loved the first game on the Dreamcast as well. But after that was done, I picked up Pikmin. It was a really interesting box cover. There was a spaceman and these little plant things of red, blue, and yellow, and I was like, wow, this looks interesting. I don't know why my dad picked that game up specifically, but it doesn't matter. I played it, and almost immediately, I was hooked. The story was about Captain Olimar. He was on a vacation, chilling. He was done working for a while, so he was just flying through space, doing whatever it is a Hulkatation does for vacation. And then a meteor hits his ship, and he just crash lands on this strange planet that suspiciously looks like ours. And he finds that if he doesn't find a way to gather all the parts of his ship and escape, he's gonna die, pretty much. And that's a pretty dire situation when you think about it. You're on this alien planet, you can't breathe the air, so he has to hustle. He stumbles upon this weird looking thing, this gray looking onion. And as soon as he approaches it, it sprouts to life, and a red seed pops out and lands on the ground. After a little while, it sprouts a leaf, and he, for some reason, decides that since it looks like a food on his home planet, like a peak carrot, he decides to pluck it. And out pops the Pikmin. And I think it was at that moment I really fell in love with that series. I had never played a game like Pikmin before. It was a puzzle strategy game. The Pikmin were your resource, they were your workers, they were the reason that you were able to accomplish your task. Without them, Olimar would have probably died. Now, I won't tell you the whole story of my playthrough of the first time I played Pikmin, but that was just the moment I was hooked. Fast forward 3 years later, and it's 2004, and I'm reading magazines, and I see Pikmin 2 is about to come out. Sweet! I can't wait! So I wait, and then eventually it comes out. I don't know how exactly I got it. My memory's not that good, but I got it. I got it when it came out on the original GameCube. And I loved it. I think I played through it 4 times since it came out. I haven't played it more because I sold my GameCube and Xbox and PS2 when the new gen systems came out, but that's a story for another time. Either way, I love Pikmin 2. It is a game I will say is my favorite of all time. Yeah, that's a really strong love for that game I have. But what is it about Pikmin 2 that I love it, that I would put it at the top of my favorite games of all time, over Fable 2, Halo 2, and other games? Well, that's what this podcast is about. I'm going to talk about why I love Pikmin 2 so much. So let's begin with probably the big feature that was added for it, the caverns. Now, the reason Olimar returns to the planet of the Pikmin, later known as PNF 404, is because his company got in debt due to one of the employees, Louis, losing an entire shipment of carrots to a space bunny. Okay. So his boss sends him and Louis back to the Pikmin planet to go get more treasure, because one of the souvenirs Omar brought back from the planet was worth a lot of money. So they arrive and, well, mishaps happen. They don't get hit by the meteor. They actually pass by it in the first cutscene, but they land, and after some shenanigans, they manage to get back together. And on the second day, if you're fast enough, you find a cavern. And this is a really simple cavern. You just go in, and you kill some enemies. There's some treasure in there. This is also where you find my favorite Pikmin species, the purple Pikmin. I love those guys. They look really cute, especially their intro cutscene where they're just like sumo wrestlers. Really cute guys, and nothing really eventful happens other than the Pikmin. So you go to the next area, and then you go to another cavern, and in that cavern you fight a boss, this Empress Bullblax. She's not really a threat to you, but as I'm playing the game, I'm thinking, I wonder if I get to fight more creatures like that. I wonder what I'll find in these caverns. And needless to say, there's a lot of caverns, and there's some pretty interesting boss fights too. Some of them you just straight up throw Pikmin at them, and others you have to find a different way to kill them. And there was one in particular, the Submerged Castle, when you're fighting the Water Wraith. The Water Wraith is unique because it chases you throughout the entire, well, I think after the second floor. Through the second floor to the final floor, it is chasing you throughout this whole submerged castle, and it can actually get pretty tense the first time. I actually wasn't able to complete the dungeon wholesale the first time I played it because I was so afraid of the Water Wraith. And you also meet these Boldmen too. And I like that. I like that they added the Boldmen in dungeons specifically. But that's beside the point. Dungeons were an opportunity to be more methodical. You only had as many Pikmin as you brought in. And sometimes you'd find these candy pop balls that you could replenish your supply. You'd also find the purple and white flowers that would make purple and white Pikmin. That's the only way you can get them. But you'd be sacrificing your current stock of Pikmin for that. But yeah, the dungeons could get really tense at times, especially since they would plop down random bombs at your feet too. That would suck. They got a little bit too bomb happy, and sometimes they were rocks, sometimes they were bombs, sometimes they were enemies. But either way, I was never really bored while playing them. The purple Pikmin were the most useful since they could kill enemies quickly, but they wouldn't always be the solution to fight bosses. But the thing I liked most was the build up to the boss, really. I do like the variety of bosses that they introduced in Pikmin 2, and the bosses in Pikmin 3 are great. I just wish there were more of them. But I still like all the Pikmin games that have been released so far, so I'm not complaining too much. But Pikmin 2's dungeon searching, dungeon crawling, that's called dungeon crawling. It was great. I liked it. I liked it a lot. But another thing that I think helped me enjoy the game was the music. The music in the surface areas was pretty nice. It was just these nice melodies. They were calm, soothing. And then there was the atmospheric stuff that you would hear in the caverns. It just made you feel like you were in this dark place away from the surface where you couldn't mess up too badly. And then there was the part where the Pikmin would sing. If you had each type of Pikmin in your group, they would sing. And it was just this nice little thing that they didn't have to do, but it made me grow attached to them. I mean, it was a charming little thing. It was a nice little detail. I love the Pikmin in Pikmin 2. It just... I don't think they did that in Pikmin 3. I got all of them in a group and they didn't do it, and I found that weird. No, well. The not boss creatures that you find, there's a lot of different creatures in this game. There's more than the first one and the third one. And they do a lot of weird things, like there's this cricket-looking creature that will make a sound and it will mess up your radar tracker and it'll attract Pikmin to it. And then there's the Dweevil enemies that try to steal treasure. They use it as like shells or something. They can also get the corpses of enemies. And they each have different elemental types, so if you're not fighting with the right element, especially the electricity ones, they will kill your Pikmin instantly. Yeah, there's just a lot. And the different Bulborbs, the Bulbear, the hairy Bulborb, the orange and black Bulborb that has great sensing. And then there was the cannon larvas, and oh boy, there's just so many enemies that didn't make a return either. I wish they were able to just bring that variety into an HD Pikmin. I would love to see that, but as it stands, it seems that Pikmin 2 came in an era where you could do a lot of stuff like that. Or you could just have like a whole bunch of enemies. There's different varieties. I mean, some of them were like palette slots, but others were pretty weird looking. There was this one enemy that shoots bombs that it made this weird sound when it walked. It had the two pipes on its back, like it was spraying steam, and it would just fire explosive at you. It was weird. It was this weird thing. They all are very weird. They seem like some kind of amalgamation of animals in the real world, but then it's taken to a really weird place. And I like it. I like that design. Yeah, they're more fantastical creatures. And as you gain treasure and fight more creatures, you can go to the creature log and treasure log. These will have descriptions about Captain Olimar and Louis, about the treasures and the animals in the world. And in the last game, Olimar would write letters in his journal about his experiences on Pikmin Planet, how he misses his family and what he's learned. And here, since he's not really in any danger, well, aside from the monsters, I mean, he's not in any danger of not being able to go home, he just writes scripts on the treasure, and I like that flavor stuff. And on the enemies, Louis writes how he cooks them. And that kind of endeared me to Louis, even though he is a bit of a screw-up. He's a lazy little prick, but I like that. It added enough flavor to his character that made me like him a little bit. And really, the story is the part that I like the most. I wasn't able to play multiplayer much because I didn't have people to play with, and the challenges are not as good as they are in Pikmin 3, so I mainly played the story for it. I mainly played Pikmin 2 for the story, and I like it. I like it a lot. That story mode, that dungeon crawling, boss fighting, atmospheric music, that all just combines to make an experience that rings true for me, one that I am willing to go back to no matter how far away from its original release date we get. I still can go back to Pikmin 2 and I can love it. I really do love that game. So, if anyone's listening to this, thank you, and goodbye. I hope to make more of these.